imagine driving down the road and just jacking the wheel hard right. What's going to happen to your car? So being a car guy, there are certain cars that are just out of reach, right? It's just like the hypercars, the Jaguar XJ220s, the Carrera GTs, cars that you know exist, you see them out there, but the odds of somebody just saying, here you go, kid, you have a good time. That's just, the McLaren F1 is a perfect example. I will never drive one. I can't fathom, I've wrapped my head around 15 different scenarios in which like maybe it's possible, but none of those seem very likely. Very, very low probability of that happening. Another car that exists like that I was super lucky to even be able to drive, and it was almost like a dream come true, was the Koenigsegg. And now Koenigsegg, for all of you that don't know, how do you not know Koenigsegg? Like, I'm almost embarrassed for you. If you don't know Koenigsegg, go watch a cooking channel right now. Stop telling people you like cars, because the Koenigsegg's are probably, to me, the pinnacle of automotive technology. They are so well built. They are such good performing, good looking, and I want to say technologically advanced vehicles. And from a small company, puts most of these larger companies to shame. Now, you have to compare Koenigsegg to like a Celine, because same thing, small company, US versus whatever. But then you realize that the Koenigsegg's are world-class vehicles that perform at the highest level with the top fit and finish. Everything about the car, like, and I remember being at the factory where they were, for the 1-to-1, they were changing the sun visor to save like 4 grams. And I'm like, who even thinks about that? Like, you'd either take the sun visor out. Who thinks about how they can re-engineer a sun visor to save 4 grams? That's cost you $30,000 to shave 4 grams off your car. And to me, that was astonishing, but it just paints the photo of just how well engineered and designed these cars are. And Koenigsegg is a company that, like, I can only imagine the amount of wealth Christian von Koenigsegg would have and how much success he'd have if he didn't like cars. Because all this technology, the free valve technology, all this stuff that they're doing, it's almost like the Formula One car, how it trickles down to street cars. His cars, he can trickle down the technology to all these trucks and other vehicles to actually make the planet a better, cleaner, and more efficient place. And that's astonishing from somebody who's designing hypercars, because a lot of hypercars are just like, all right, make it look cool, stuff a whole bunch of horsepower in it, and let's go see if we can set a record. Nobody cares if it gets 4 miles to the gallon or anything like that. But Koenigsegg, they engineer everything to this nth degree, and they just build like absolutely mind-numbingly gorgeous and well-built cars. And here I had a chance when I was filming my Super Speeders DVD series to go out and visit the factory. And I was super excited. It was Matt Farah and myself went out there. And we got not only to drive in a Koenigsegg, but to actually drive a Koenigsegg to the point where we're like a private runway. Like, there is not like, all right, let's go around the block. Just be careful. Watch out for that bump over there. This was a completely different experience. We're over there and they pull out this Koenigsegg Agera R, and it's got like test vehicle written on the front bumper and everything like that. It was really cool. And we couldn't say it at the time when we were filming, but it actually had most of the bits from the 1-to-1 in it. So it was like a wolf in sheep's clothing. So we're effectively driving a Koenigsegg 1-to-1, obviously not with the same rear wing or anything like that, but we're driving this, and not only on the street, but we're driving it on a runway, a shut down runway. And here we are zipping back and forth. And it's funny, this runway also has like a motorcycle training course on the side. So here you got these guys like going around cones on their little motorcycle, and we're ripping back and forth at 300 kilometers an hour. It's 186 miles an hour that we're going back and forth up and down this runway. And it was just amazing. And now where you normally do a test drive and it's like, oh, you little American people that you don't know how to drive or anything like that, they're doing stuff like, all right, we'll bring it up to 300. Then take your hands off the wheel and just full brake. And I'm like, no, I can't afford this car. Like, I can't, like, and I get it. Like, the car can do it, right? And that's just a testament to how well these cars are engineered. He wouldn't tell a random guy to do 190 miles an hour and just jam on the brakes without holding the steering wheel. anything can happen. You can like blow out a tire. I mean, you name it. And then you're spinning off. It's almost too late to correct it. But the fact that they've got so much confidence in these cars that you can do that, it was astonishing to me. And then he's like, all right, now like flip the wheel. And I'm like, no, I'm not flipping the wheel. Like I'm doing 80 miles an hour. If I flip the wheel, I'm up on my roof, like in my car. So he goes out and does this. And Robert was the guy's name, who was the test driver at the time. And he's like, oh, let me do this. And he's like, look, I can't make the car lose control. And she's like, okay, yeah, but you're only doing 60. He's like, oh, we could do it. And he's like full throttle, opposite lock, opposite lock, opposite lock. And the car it wags back and forth, but it doesn't lose control. And I'm just looking and I'm like, every other car would have smashed 5 times in the amount of time or just anything close to that. Imagine driving down the road and just jacking the wheel hard right. What's going to happen to your car? You're looping out, you're hitting something, you're flipping on your roof. I mean, there's 100 things that can happen to your car. Especially, that's just one correction. Imagine going full lock both ways, and the car just sort of dances down the road. And that was just something we looked and we're like, that just happened. And that was amazing. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget when Christian, it was great, Christian ordered us pizzas. And a very nice thing to do. A bunch of guys from New York, let's get some pizzas. Swedish pizza, not the same as New York pizza. Like, you got to learn, like, there's things. Now, they love their pizza. And, like, anytime you go somewhere and somebody orders food, they're trying to show off. And I don't think he's like, this is, like, the best Swedish food on the planet. But he brought in pizzas. And in Sweden, they do, like, coleslaw on their pizza. And he just got a bunch of pizzas. And, like, normally I would be like, all right, there's a bunch of people I don't know. 6 plain pies, please. And he came in and he's like, all right, this one's got like meats on it. And it was just so much like weird. There was like pineapple pizzas and like stuff that like, why would you put that on the pizza? And then on top of that, then they put the coleslaw on top of all that, which I don't think I ate too much. I think I picked out like the meat pizza, which seemed to be the safest play. But it was very cool. It just shows you, I mean, anytime you go anywhere, you go to Kansas and somebody's like, oh, you're from New York? We got this Italian place. Let me bring you over there. And it's like, I get it, man. It's just not like, I get it. I applaud the effort. Let's go get a burger. Nobody screws up burgers. But I do remember that it was a very memorable trip. Just grabbing a full blown, and like if you've ever picked up a wheel before, you pick up a wheel, it's pretty heavy. Here you're picking up these carbon fiber wheels with one hand and you're like, oh wow, this is a 21-inch rim. And you're just like, you can sort of throw it up and down with one hand. And it's amazing the amount of technology that went into these. Now, Koenigsegg is one of those cars that has also morphed over the years. It's almost like a Porsche in that it's effectively the same thing that has become better as time has gone on. And it's such a dialed in point. And the max that they were able to get was the Agera RS and then the 1-to-1. And that was the pinnacle of what that platform was able to achieve. And that's when they switched over to then the Regera and then now the Gamera. And they just put together a fantastic line of cars. I was super lucky to be able to drive that. That car has since set the world speed record at 277 miles an hour. I believe that still stands to this day. We can talk about the SSE Tuatara, but I don't think that record was the torch has not been passed yet. We'll see what time says about that and what the next run ends up putting out. But to me, Koenigsegg is the end-all of performance cars, and I was super lucky to be able to drive it. To say that it's a goal to own one, I can't fathom the amount of wealth that I would have to amass to justify buying one. Because I know they're reliable, they come with warranties, it's well-engineered, but just the fact that to stick, just say $3 million into a car, when I can think about how many other cars I could buy for $3 million. I might pick your garage. You're like, all right, you got a garage, pick 10 cars for $3 million. That's a pretty epic garage. I mean, you're talking about serious fun cars, 4GTs, GT3s. I mean, all of my favorite cars, 488s, 458s. You get the Murcielagos. You get all these cars together, or you could take that one car. I don't see a Koenigsegg ever being in my future. I see it always as being a dream car. My buddy just ordered 2 of them, so maybe I'll get to drive his. But I do not ever see owning a Koenigsegg, and that's probably the closest I'm going to get to being able to rage around in a Koenigsegg. And it was all with the blessing of Christian himself.
Finding your next dream car can be like searching for a needle in a haystack, but the best tool to use is AutoTempest.com. AutoTempest is the smartest and most powerful tool to search for your next car or your dream car because they allow you to search all the major listing sites at once. Their motto is all the cars, one search, and they've been supporting VINwiki for the last 3 years. Quite honestly, it's the first place I go to look when I'm searching for my next car, and I think that you'll absolutely love it. So check them out today at the link in the description below, and thank them for their continued support of VINwiki.